On a summer afternoon, precisely July 11th, 2005, a devastating discovery was made. Brittany Loritts, a vibrant 18-year-old who had just graduated from high school, was found lifeless in her bed. Her stepfather, Reginald Weeks, came across the heartbreaking scene in their Salisbury, North Carolina home. The cause of her untimely demise: a stab wound to her neck. At first, investigators pointed towards a botched robbery as the possible cause behind this gruesome act. However, as they delved deeper, the case took an unexpected turn. Uncomfortable truths and startling family secrets started to unravel. What sequence of events led to Brittany's unfortunate end? What concealed truths were lurking in the shadows of her family's history, ready to be unearthed? Hello there, dear friends. Welcome back to another thrilling episode of Case Files Unlocked. In today's session, we are going to unravel the perplexingly twisted case of Brittany Loritts. If you haven't become a part of our community yet, we kindly invite you to subscribe and like our channel. Now, let's not waste any more time and plunge headlong into this intriguing mystery. Nestled in North Carolina, Salisbury is a bustling city, home to over 35,000 wonderful souls. This gem in Rowan County is deeply rooted in a rich history, showcasing magnificent architecture, charming streets dotted with one-of-a-kind boutiques, and a flourishing art scene. Whether it's the creative hub of Railwalk Studios and Gallery or the lively Salisbury Historic District, there's a treasure trove of experiences waiting for everyone. But beneath this vibrant cityscape, a tragic event unfolded. To fully comprehend the narrative, let's journey to Forsyth County, North Carolina, the starting point of our story. It was here that Brittany Loritts, a vibrant young woman, was born to Roderick Loritts and Angela Vontina on May 7th, 1987.
She was something special. Everybody around her knew she was special. She had a heart of gold. She was an angel.
As the years rolled by, the bond between Brittany's parents seemed to shift, and they ultimately chose different paths. The reasons behind their split are still cloaked in mystery. Brittany's mom, Angela, found love again with a gentleman named Reginald Weeks Jr. The trio, along with Angela's mother, set up a cozy nest at 916 Scale Street in the charming town of Salisbury, nestled in Rowan County, North Carolina. Despite the changes, Brittany's biological father, Roderick, remained a steadfast figure in her life, his role as important as ever.
I was always close to her. Took her to the park, took her out, went to eat. I did father stuff, you know.
Brittany, a vibrant and dedicated individual, spent her high school years at North Rowan, juggling a myriad of responsibilities. Her roles ranged from being the Sunday school secretary to a member of the youth corps and serving on the junior ushers board. Come May 2005, she proudly sported her graduation cap and said her goodbyes to North Rowan High School. At the tender age of 18, she made plans to continue her academic journey at Rowan Caperos Community College the coming fall. From there, she intended to transfer to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University to pursue a degree in education. Brittany had always harbored dreams of becoming a teacher. However, before she dove headfirst into her college life, Brittany decided to spend her summer working. She was always one to stay busy, and this was a golden opportunity to earn some extra cash while gearing up for her educational voyage. True to form, Brittany embraced her summer job wholeheartedly, throwing herself into every task she was given. Every day, she committed herself to work with a sense of dedication, fully aware that this would help her to grow personally and build resilience. Brittany had a half-sister named Asti Loritts, the offspring of her biological father and another woman. Despite being nurtured by different mothers, they had a powerful bond and were incredibly close. On Father's Day, June 19, 2005, they decided to spend some quality time with their father, Roderick. At that time, Asti, just a 15-year-old girl, was residing with her mother and stepfather. On this visit, both girls experienced a day brimming with joy and adventure. It was a light-hearted day filled with sheer enjoyment. Little did they realize that amid their bursts of laughter and thrill, it would be their last meeting. On the afternoon of July 11th, 2005, a horrific incident unfolded in Salisbury. The local police department was rushed with an emergency call reporting a stabbing at Brittany's home.
911, do you have an emergency?
She's not breathing. We don't know what to do. She's been stabbed.
In no time, Officer Brent Hall was at the scene. The emergency medical team was already there, along with a handful of worried onlookers clustered outside the house. With a gentle step, Officer Hall made his way into the home and directed himself towards Brittany's room. He took a moment to carefully absorb the intense scene unfolding before him, ensuring he missed no detail. Brittany was lying on the floor beside her bed, her life clearly extinguished. Officer Hall noticed she was still in her cozy pajamas, a stark contrast to the gruesome bloodstains marring her neck. His drive to decipher the situation led him to question the location of her stab wound, which the medical team confirmed was indeed her neck. In the midst of the turmoil, Officer Hall shifted his focus to Brittany's stepfather, Reginald. Accompanied by his own father, Reginald recounted the horrifying scene he had stumbled upon. He and his father had dropped by the house at 4:15 in the afternoon to pick up some work files when they found Brittany in her bed, her lifeblood seeping out. In unison, the father and son did their utmost to administer CPR, holding on until the professionals could take over. Officer Hall, understanding the gravity of the situation, swiftly requested backup from investigative teams. Investigator Stephen Holmes, a seasoned professional from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and his capable team didn't waste a moment and was soon on site. They immediately began their meticulous examination. Starting at the front door, they found no evidence of a break-in. Yet, once inside, it was clear something was amiss. The interior was in disarray, hinting at a possible search. In Brittany's bedroom, they faced a heart-rending scene. Her body lay still, with noticeable ligature marks around her neck. Investigator Holmes, with his keen eye, spotted a wire hanger nearby, possibly the source of those marks.
There was a hanger found in Brittany's room. The hanger was unbound, lying on the floor. To our eye, it seemed as if the hanger could have made those ligature marks. It appeared as if Brittany had been both strangled and stabbed.
On the surface, there wasn't an immediate sign that Brittany had been mistreated, as her clothing was intact. Investigator Holmes found himself trying to unravel the mystery surrounding Brittany's unfortunate end. At first glance, it appeared as if a botched robbery might be the cause. Yet something didn't add up. Despite the chaos, not a single item appeared to have been taken. An untouched computer and a collection of the family's prized possessions, including credit cards and jewelry, were all accounted for. The disarray of the home hinted that someone had been desperately looking for something specific. Yet the elusive something remained a mystery. Unfazed by the initial setback, Holmes and his team launched a meticulous search of the property in the hopes of unearthing a weapon that could shed some light on the situation. However, their search was to no avail. Not to be discouraged, they proceeded to gather a variety of items for a more detailed inspection. This collection included an answering machine, bedding, a mobile phone, checkbooks, a coat hanger, a computer, a jewelry box, and various other items. The team moved meticulously, gathering blood, fibers, fingerprints, and hair from Brittany's room. Each piece of evidence collected held the potential to shed light on the chilling incident. Once everything was documented, they made the heart-rending choice to extricate Brittany's body, handling her with the greatest of care as she was taken to the autopsy suite. Within a day of Brittany's untimely passing, Investigator Holmes and Detective J.D. Barber initiated their line of inquiry, talking to their stepfather, Reginald, and her mother, Angela. They aimed to reconstruct the sorrowful events of that fateful day. Angela walked them through her work routine, noting she was at her workplace from 7 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. and got home around 4 p.m. The focus then shifted to Reginald, Brittany's stepfather, who shared a deeply moving narrative of loss and grief. He mentioned leaving home around 7 a.m. that day for a job assignment on Bourbon Street, a memory now marred by tragedy. After wrapping up a bathroom repair on Pinewood Avenue, he moved on to his next task. He shared that he had plans to meet with a lady by the name of Amanda Scott, who required some work done on her house. Yet, before proceeding to this task, he and his father swung by his home to pick up a few documents. As Reginald recounted his story, he arrived at the chilling moment when he entered his home. Upon noticing the open drawers and computer stand, he instinctively called out for Brittany, only to be met with silence. His worry escalated as he made his way to her bedroom, where he found her lying lifelessly on the bed. Overwhelmed with disbelief and sorrow, he attempted to rouse her, only to discover a wound on her neck. He let out a cry of distress, holding her close to his chest. His father, who had been waiting outside in the truck, heard his cries. Just then, Angela arrived home from her day at work, only to be met with a sight that would etch itself into her memory forever. Throughout, Reginald's narration seemed believable. His cooperation with the police was impressive, even going as far as volunteering for a polygraph test. Investigators, content with his input, shifted their focus to Brittany's biological father, Roderick. But he was quickly ruled out as a suspect when it was discovered he was out of town at the time of the incident. With no immediate leads to follow, the investigators began a relentless quest, gathering information from the neighborhood where the terrible event took place. They tirelessly knocked on doors, hoping to find anyone who might have seen or heard something out of the ordinary on the tragic day Brittany lost her life. Interestingly, a few locals mentioned spotting a man darting between houses that day. Unfortunately, no one had a clear enough view to provide a detailed description. Despite this hurdle, the investigators remained unwavering in their pursuit of truth and justice. Their motivation: to provide some closure for the mourning family who had suffered such a heartbreaking loss. As the investigation progressed, Brittany's autopsy results were released, offering more insight into the circumstances surrounding her demise. The forensic examination concluded that the cause of her demise was due to a severe laceration to her neck after being strangled unconscious with a coat hanger. Astonishingly, there were no indications of defensive injuries on Brittany's body, nor traces of foreign DNA. A significant finding during the autopsy was an injury to her intimate area, leading the medical examiner to postulate that it could have resulted from consensual activity. This unexpected information steered the police in a new direction, suggesting that Brittany might have been involved in a risky sexual encounter involving strangulation. The investigators started hypothesizing that her death perhaps was accidental, an outcome of a prearranged meeting that went terribly awry. The notion that the perpetrator might have lost control and then attempted to distort the crime scene began to form amongst the investigators. This unexpected turn of events highlighted the importance of deciphering Brittany's personal life to crack the case. The investigation soon led them to a person of interest, a young man identified only as Terry. Brittany's former flame, Terry, was a figure of interest after her untimely demise. The authorities, struck by the heavy sorrow reflected in his gaze, sat down with him for a chat. Terry opened up about his relationship with Brittany that had spanned a few months, but had taken a different turn when her family went on a vacation 2 weeks before she passed. He was open about his whereabouts on the tragic day of Brittany's departure. Post the conversation, investigators meticulously went through Terry's narrative, piecing together a timeline and looking for any meaningful insights. His ready willingness to cooperate, coupled with his palpable distress, resonated with them, persuading them of his non-involvement in Brittany's unfortunate end. But the puzzle remained incomplete. Who else could unveil the truth? What was lurking beneath the facade of Brittany's seemingly normal existence? The rumor mill began to churn, and the spotlight shifted to Jerome Buckler, Brittany's ex-beau. His past was marred by troubles and run-ins with the law, making him a potential suspect. Yet, when the police confronted him, he exhibited raw emotions and voluntarily proposed a polygraph test. He went a step further, offering hair and blood samples to substantiate his innocence. It was clear that everyone was looking for answers, hoping to solve the mystery behind Brittany's tragic end. As the mystery of the case deepened, fascinating new pieces of information began to surface, adding several layers to the already intricate puzzle. Detectives discovered from Angela, Brittany's mother, that Brittany had experienced an abortion 5 years prior to her untimely demise. In their pursuit of identifying the individual responsible for Brittany's pregnancy, Angela became increasingly reticent, withholding any further details. Consequently, Angela and Reginald, her partner, became the focal point of investigators' attention. They were able to procure photographs of Angela and Reginald's residence, captured on the very day of the tragic incident. Upon meticulous inspection of these photographs, they stumbled upon a compelling detail. Reginald, who was present in several of these images, was wearing a shirt completely devoid of any bloodstains. This discovery contradicted Reginald's assertion that he had held Brittany in his arms after the incident. If his statement were to be true, his shirt would have inevitably been smeared with Brittany's blood. This discrepancy cast a shadow of doubt over the veracity of Reginald's story and planted him firmly under the investigator's microscope as a potential suspect. Consequently, detectives meticulously analyzed Reginald's claimed schedule to cross-check his alibi. He maintained that he had departed from home at 7 a.m. on the day of the shocking event, heading directly to his workplace and not returning until later. Upon closer examination, it was found that Reginald's account of events didn't hold up. 2 observant witnesses came forward, recounting how they noticed Reginald returning home not long after he had left, looking visibly upset. This intriguing discovery led investigators to probe into Amanda Scott, the supposed repairwoman Reginald claimed to have met. Yet, their attempts to unearth details about her hit a brick wall. There was simply no trace of her existence. This, coupled with a growing number of inconsistencies, fueled detectives' belief that Reginald was, in fact, the culprit behind Brittany's demise. A crucial piece of the puzzle still missing was whether this was a calculated act or a spur-of-the-moment decision born out of an intense disagreement. As they delved deeper, a disturbing picture of Brittany and Reginald's relationship began to surface. Brittany's half-sister, Brittany Loritts, revealed a telling fact. Brittany had a profound aversion towards Reginald.
Brittany couldn't go anywhere. She couldn't do anything. She never really got to live her life as a teenager.
She painted a picture of him as domineering, often not allowing Brittany to partake in any pursuits outside of their home without his watchful eye. Brittany's friends also came forward, sharing their personal experiences of her anxieties regarding Reginald. In a troubling turn of events, Brittany had confessed to one friend about being mistreated by him. Yet, when the friend reacted with anger and threatened to alert the authorities, Brittany quickly backtracked her statement, imploring her friend to preserve the secrecy of her admission. These disclosures depicted a restrained and unhealthy relationship between Brittany and Reginald, intensifying detectives' growing belief that he was a key factor in her premature passing. Investigators managed to assemble a frightening chronology of events that transpired that ill-starred day. They surmised that on the morning of Brittany's death, a fiery dispute broke out between her and Reginald. In a flash of uncontrolled rage, Reginald lost his composure and took extreme action. He forcibly held Brittany down on the bed, using a coat hanger to strengthen his hold around her neck. As the situation intensified, Brittany blacked out. In a state of panic, and fully grasping the severity of what he had done, Reginald made the ill-fated decision to end her life by stabbing her in the neck. Overwhelmed by fear and panic, he manipulated the scene of the crime, trying to mask the true horror of his actions. In a chilling turn of events, he inflicted harm on Brittany in an incredibly personal way. Moreover, by turning Brittany's room and the house upside down, he attempted to paint a picture of a botched burglary, further complicating the search for truth. Equipped with all this damning evidence, the investigators approached Reginald. Yet, in spite of their accusations, he held firm to his claims of innocence. Throughout this challenging period, Angela remained steadfast in her support for her husband, even as the evidence against him piled up. Sensing the impending storm, both Reginald and Angela swiftly sought legal advice. Subsequently, investigators sought to collect blood and hair samples to strengthen their case against Reginald. However, the couple stubbornly resisted. It was only when a judge stepped in, issuing a directive, that Reginald was pressured into complying with the authorities' demands. On a fateful day, August 12, 2005, the wheels of justice began to turn. Reginald was taken into custody following a search warrant, charged with a grave accusation, first-degree murder. It was a monumental moment in the quest for justice, with the community holding their breath, poised for the truth to unveil. A couple of days later, Reginald was brought before a judge for a preliminary hearing. There, he was met with the staggering possibility of facing the death penalty. Time marched on, and weeks later on October 19th, Reginald tasted freedom once again, albeit at the steep cost of a $350,000 bond. Yet his freedom was fleeting. On February 2nd, 2006, the law caught up with him again. This time, he was charged with assault concerning Brittany's case. The community watched, incredulous, as he secured his release with an even larger bond, $500,000. The legal saga escalated from there, spanning several grueling months. Eventually, in 2007, Reginald opted for an Alford plea. This move allowed him to assert his innocence while acknowledging the compelling evidence against him. It was a strategic play to mitigate the risk of a severe sentence. Consequently, he pleaded guilty to less severe charges, second-degree murder and second-degree assault. In the end, 2008 saw Reginald receiving his final sentence, a maximum term of 11 years and 8 months in prison. The prolonged legal battle had reached its conclusion. On January 20, 2015, as the outcome of a plea deal, he was set free on probation. By March of the same year, he had fully acquired his freedom, stepping out from behind the prison bars. His release, however, left a sour note for those grieving for Brittany, as his punishment seemed insignificant compared to the immense loss they had experienced. Brittany Loritts' case remains a chilling mystery, riddled with unanswered questions and disconcerting disclosures. Her memory should be an impetus for us all, reminding us to always be vigilant of the signs of abuse, to extend a helping hand to those in distress, and to work towards creating a world where everyone feels valued and secure. As we wrap up this narrative, one baffling question remains. Why did Angela, Brittany's mother, decide to support Reginald, even in the face of evidence indicating his culpability? We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to engage with our content by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Stay safe, and thank you for tuning in.